Hello there, Tom here from the Run Testers. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at Hoka One One's recent addition to the Clifton lineup, the Clifton 7. Let's take a look and see how good it is. So, what exactly is the Clifton 7? If you've never heard of the Hoka One Clifton range, it's a series of shoes designed with quite a lot of cushioning, as you can see here, but also, and specifically in the later versions of this shoe, it's meant to be a bit of an all-rounder, so it has a bit of responsiveness. It's not really soft and kind of slows you down. It's an all-round general daywear shoe that's basically designed for anything between slow training runs to actually doing speed training to a level. It's not a race shoe. But first, let's have a look at the stats. It's going to cost you £125 or $130. It weighs in at 247 grams for men, which is 8.7 ounces. For women, that's 201 grams and 7.1 ounces. So a pretty light shoe, especially for something this cushioned. It's also a road shoe and it's neutral, and the heel to toe drop is 5mm, so quite low. If you've tried the Clifton 6 before, there aren't many updates that have been made from that version to this version. I haven't tried the Clifton 6 before, so I'm coming at this completely fresh. But the main changes that have been made are a new engineered mesh upper and this elf heel collar thing that sits over here. In terms of fit, the actual fit feels quite good when you first start wearing these. So it's essentially step into comfort from the Clifton 7. So as soon as you start putting it on, it feels fine. One thing that I have noticed, and it is quite a big thing for me, I don't have particularly wide feet at all. So I very rarely have problems with shoes. But I have found that when you get to about 10k or so in this shoe, it really starts to rub or feel quite restrictive in the forefoot section. It feels quite narrow. And I have read from other reviews that this is something that other people have noticed, this kind of thin forefoot section at the top here, which presumably comes from the updating of the engineered mesh material upper that sits there. So it is true to size, but that toe box does feel narrow for me. I've been running in the Clifton 7 for about 80k now, and for the most part, I really like it. I've run across mainly on road, but I've done a bit of kind of semi-trail stuff in it as well. And I think it delivers very well. The nice thing about it is that obviously there is a lot of cushioning, but it's not that soft. It's actually quite firm cushioning, and there's a little bit of responsiveness in it. And for someone like me who trains at different speeds every time I tend to go out, and I'm never actually quite sure what speed I'm going to be running at. I just base it on how I feel on the day. But for someone like me, it works very well because I can take this shoe out and I can go for a very long, slow run, or I can go out and do a much shorter, faster run, depending on how I feel on the day. And that's a really big plus point for this shoe. That actually makes it quite difficult to pick out really noticeable things about the shoe because it's not really soft, the cushioning. You're not running with every step and feeling like you're stepping on clouds. It's a lot firmer than that. And the same with the kind of responsiveness. It's not that noticeable. It's just there is some there. So when you're running faster, you can actually feel like there's a little bit of spring in it, but it's not a lot, and it's not noticeable enough to say it's really responsive shoe. But overall, it's the sum of its parts, and it does feel quite nice to run in. And it's just nice picking up a shoe that you can wear when you're not really sure what you're doing. You can leave the house and go, maybe I might do a fast run, maybe I might do a slow run, maybe I might go for a walk. Probably wouldn't wear this for a walk, it'd be a bit of a waste of the durability. But overall, really nice all-round shoe that doesn't really deliver anything specific, but is just great for general training day to day. As I mentioned, this forefoot section is quite a big problem for me, as I don't really have wide feet. I don't tend to have a lot of problem with shoes. I very rarely find shoes uncomfortable to the point where I don't really want to wear them after a certain point. But I've probably done 500 or 600 of these so far, and every time I get to about 5, 6, 7k, it starts to not rubbing, but it just feels restrictive here, and it feels like it's pressing against it. And when you get into the doing further and further kilometers, it just gets worse. I did a half marathon distance training run in these, and I really didn't want to wear them up to that point. I don't think it's the size of the shoe, because there's plenty of give at the front. It's just quite narrow in the forefoot, and that's quite a big problem for me. I haven't tried the 6, but I've not seen any problems with people saying that about the 6. Whereas the 7, people have mentioned that this forefoot is a little bit restrictive. Definitely is for me. The elf heel collar thing here doesn't make any major difference for me. It's a design feature that seems to be on trend at the moment, and a lot of brands seem to be picking it up. New Balance, especially in something like the Fresh Foam 1080 V10. I think Puma have got a similar thing, but it's something that's creeping into a lot of shoes. The sole purpose for that is being able to pull your shoe on and off. It's the previous versions, I think, had a kind of hook that was just pulled around the back. Either works fine. It doesn't make a massive difference. So in terms of updates, I think it's probably more aesthetic than anything. The pull before worked perfectly fine, apparently. My verdict: the Clifton is a really good all-round training shoe, and to some point probably race shoe for some people who are really not focused on having a race shoe and a training shoe. You can pick up the pace quite nicely in it. I've done some perfectly good faster training runs in it. If I took this for a race, I know I wouldn't get a time as fast as I'd get if I'm using my race shoes. But for some people, they're probably, if you're looking for one pair of trainers that you can train in and then do the odd race in, they'll be fine, and they're going to be very comfortable, apart from the forefoot, over longer distances. Having said that, there are minimal changes to this shoe over the 6, and the upper is probably the weakest part of this shoe for me. And if that's the major thing that they've updated, it might be worth looking at the 6 as a better option, especially if the price of these, if the price of the 6s comes down as now these are released. So the Clifton 6 may be a better option for people, especially if it's cheaper. I'd say that it's a good shoe for training runs, tempo runs, fartlek sessions, anything where you going to be changing the pace and you want something that delivers over slower and faster paces. Alternatives for me for this shoe would probably be something like Saucony Triumph 17, the New Balance Fresh Foam 1080 V10s, or maybe the Nike Pegasus Turbo 2. They all have a lot of cushioning, but also they do allow you to run faster, which you don't get from some of the kind of more cushioned shoes that are designed solely for slow training runs and comfort. So they're my views on the Hoka Clifton 7 running shoe. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the little bell icon somewhere around here, and check out some of the other videos that we've got on the channel. We review loads of new running shoes all the time, but we also do the latest watches, headphones, and all other sorts of tech that come into the running world that you need to know more about. Catch you later. See you soon.